What are you doing? Eating M&M's and sitting here. This is kind of stupid.
And talking about technology then, are you on Twitter?
No, I'm not. I'm not on Twitter. I think that politicians do have to think about what we say, and I think the trouble with Twitter, the instantness of it, is I think there's too many twits might make a twat.
Okay, so this is just a bit of fun, but what if we could combine the use of Twitter with things like Facebook and YouTube to create a new media world, and how would this impact upon us all?
Twitter.
More and more tweets were appearing.
Twitter. A Twitter revolution.
Is this the first true internet uprising?
Yes. The Iranian government has completely failed in its...
65% of Twitter users are under the age of 25, most of these being females. 25 million people use Twitter every day. Twitter is used politically, socially and culturally as a means to express yourself and communicate with the world.
First of all, let me say that I have never used Twitter.
Really, Mr. President? How about a Facebook?
Welcome back to Clever TV. I'm Jocelyn Davis with the news on the Twitter front.
A news channel broadcast dedicated to Twitter?
First it was Miley, and now another young singer is following suit. Chris Brown just took to the web and canceled his Twitter account. I'm sure you all know that Brown has been very open about his frustrations and his emotions on his Twitter page, but after making news for some, shall we say, controversial postings, Chris is pulling the plug on the social network. Brown apparently went into a Walmart store that didn't have any copies of his new album.
Even though Twitter's positively affected the lives of millions, Twitter can still be a dangerous resource, as Chris Brown found out when he posted publicly a comment about the Walmart supermarket chain not carrying his album due to his upcoming trial and court case. Even Hollywood actors like Kevin Spacey are getting in on tweeting action. So why is tweeting so important, and why do people do it? Well, perhaps Kevin Spacey puts it in his own special way.
So I'm on Twitter now. I've been on for about 3 months.
Does it cost you money to be on Twitter?
No, it doesn't cost you money.
Well, I don't know how you... I don't know how it works.
A penny for every letter. So expensive, Dave.
I don't know anything
Why,
about
are you on Twitter?
No, I don't know. I can't afford it. I don't know anything about the Twitter.
I am on Twitter. In fact, I could Twitter right now.
Now, right now, you could launch this and it would go... Where would that go?
All over the world.
Really?
Yeah. I've been on now 3 months, and I have... People follow you, or you can follow people. I have over 800,000 people following me. Now, right now, Dave, what would you like to say to 800,000 people? Because you never get that many watching you at night.
Whilst Facebook is used in a more sociable context, Twitter can be used to change the course of real-world events, overcoming such things as censorship and regulation in such countries as Iran and here in the UK. In the most recent UK case of Twitter overcoming censorship and regulation, a solicitor called Carter Ruck managed to obtain an injunction against the House of Commons. Twitter users and The Guardian together managed to repeal this by passing over information about the nature of the injunction.
And Twitter went into meltdown over something else this week, didn't it, Ian?
Oh, it went into meltdown over an attempt to roll back 300 years of freedom of the press in Parliament. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, well, yes, I think it is, yes.
Oh, good.
Go, 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 Ian.
I'll come and visit you. Yeah. I would. Most weekends I would. I really would. It's a fairly simple story. There's a company called Trafigura, well worth remembering, and they were accused of dumping toxic waste on the Ivory Coast. And at the same time, though obviously there's no connection, a lot of people were very badly injured. And then Trafigura paid out £30 million. Obviously it was nothing to do with them. They didn't admit liability because, you know, you would pay £30 million to people who'd had nothing to do with them being injured. So the Guardian newspaper got a really good bit of information about this story. So they rang up Trafigura, who immediately rang their lawyers, didn't answer the question, said, here's an injunction, you can't publish this, and you can't publish the fact that we're gagging you.
Where conventional news media formats failed, Twitter prevailed and got the news out to everyone in the world.
So they have this thing called Twitter. Have you heard about Twitter?
I don't know if you'll line me up with it.
Okay, Twitter, it's like on the internet.
Here we see Ben Stiller discussing with Mickey Rooney the possibilities of Twitter. Clearly Mickey Rooney's never used Twitter or heard of it before, and doesn't understand why you'd need to broadcast what you're doing every moment of the day. On the contrary, Ben Stiller explains how important this might be.
I can't tell if I'm happy about it or if I feel like I'm intrigued by it, and then I feel like there's a lot more to catch up with and always keep up with. You know what I mean? Because then
rather than Facebook and Twitter plotting themselves against each other as rivals, we should see them both as two different utilities that can be used for different purposes. Perhaps with Facebook we use this for more of a social occasion, and perhaps with Twitter we can use this to tweet political messages and information messages that might be useful to friends and followers.